Pause. Called you. When did y'all even exchange numbers?
Just change my mind like that. Please don't take this personal, but you ain't shit.
Hey guys, and I'm here to tell my story, and I want to tell y'all how I found out my cousin was sleeping with my boyfriend. So I had took custody of my cousin at the age of 16, going on 17, around that age. And when I had took custody of her, she kind of was like already on a fast track. Let that sink in again. So I don't have kids of my own, but I was willing to take her, to provide for her and nourish her and give her the right things that she need as a kid, because everywhere she go, people was disrespecting her, or she was getting kicked out, or she was being fast and everything else. So I wanted to give her a chance. So I had went through the little court system, and I had ended up going through courts, talking to caseworkers and stuff like that. So I had invited her into my home. This is my blood cousin on my mom's side. So I was dating this guy for probably like 5.5 years, and we never had no problems, but we had small other problems, but that's for another video for another day. It came to a point where one particular day, this was back in 2020. So this one particular day, remind you, she's only like 16, going on 17, and she was smoking tobacco. And one day I had to go to work, and normally she's old enough to stay by herself, so I end up leaving her at home by herself, and I had end up coming back in the house because I had end up forgetting something before I end up pulling off. Remind you, I was only working a third shift. Yeah, I was working a third shift. Then some days I work like mid shift or morning shift. So when I came back in the house, I had end up seeing her walking in the dining room, and I was asking her if anything was wrong. She said yes, she was looking for some tobacco. So when she was looking for the tobacco, so I'm like, so you don't have no money to get you no tobacco? Because me, I wasn't gonna provide for her needs, but then sometimes I know that she has so much trauma in her life that she needs something to soak out that trauma. So she decided she smoked tobacco. So I know she was gonna be there by herself, and I knew that she needed some stuff. So earlier that day, let's go back, I did have my boyfriend over there, and every time he comes over, I make sure he leaves before it's time for me to leave out. Like, he completely left my home, completely left the area, completely left out of my driveway. I made sure he left. So that particular day, he had ended up leaving. I made sure he was gone. But then when I had ended up leaving, I ended up giving her a couple dollars so she can go to the store and get her some miles. The store area where we was at, they allow her to get it at that age, but you know, she's just my cousin. So when I came back the next day, which was earlier that day, I kind of saw an extra mile, but the thing about it is, because I only gave her enough for one. So I saw an extra mile, and I'm like, where did you get that from? Then she was like, oh, Pooh gave it to me. And I'm like, so Pooh is the dude that I was dating. She was like, oh, Pooh gave it to me. I said, how did he give you that? When did he give you that? So remind you, that was my type of cousin too, where I was telling her stuff that me and him was going through. Like, me and her was like bonding to where we was having like cousin conversations because we that close or whatever. So next thing you know, I get a call from him, and he tells me, he was like, So is it something you need to tell me? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean it's something I need to tell you? He was like, you be talking about me to people. And I'm like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? So in my head, I did not think that she was going back telling him things that I was saying to her about stuff that was going on with us or whatever. So he was like, yeah, you've been talking about it. I said, no, I wasn't. So I'm up here lying, and he could already catch me in my lie because he already knew because she was telling him or whatever. So that was that. That was a one red flag that it was already a problem, because I'm like, okay, if she my cousin, why the heck is she sitting up here telling him stuff that me and her talk about and we blood cousins? She don't even know this man. That was one red flag. The other red flag was to black him out. So I asked her, I said, okay, when did he bring you this black him out? And she was like, oh, he was just over here last night. So I'm like, when? Because he left when I went to work. So she wasn't putting two to two together. She's like, oh yeah, he was here or whatever. So I'm like, for what? So I asked him, and I called him. I'm like, what you come back over my house for? He was like, oh, she called me to tell me that she wanted a black him out. Can I bring her one? So yeah, so they exchanged numbers, I guess, that I did not know about. And when they exchanged numbers, she contacted him and he came back when I was going to work. So after that happened or whatever, the next day she got mad because I told her that she couldn't stay or spend the night over somebody's house. So she tried to call herself running away. When I finally got her back, I took her phone from her and she was grounded. Period. It's just that. So she decided to run away again. And then having an iPhone, knowing you have an iPhone, she had ended up locking her iPhone up, and then you can write a message on the screen to like alert people of stuff that you want to say. And she was like, since you got my phone, won't you go through my phone and see what me and Pooh been doing? I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, so I'm asking her because now she locked the phone, so I don't know what she was talking about. So she had ended up inboxing me on Instagram. So I'm up here talking to her and stuff on Instagram, and she was like, yeah, me and Pooh was doing the do for 2 weeks straight and you didn't know about it. I said, what? When was this happening? Like, that stuff was happening while I was at work. So she was like, yeah, what you think he was over there for 2 weeks straight for? He was over there for me, not you. And remind you, this is my boyfriend I've been with for 5.5 years before she even came in the picture. So I'm like, what? This man actually sleep in the same bed with me every freaking night, and me and him doing the do every freaking night. And then turn around this one particular day, she had we had our door closed with me and him in the room, and I had my legs across his lap or whatever. So she come knocking on the door or whatever. So she come in the room or whatever, and she decided she want to sit on my floor and play on her phone. But in reality, what she was doing was texting him while I had my legs across him. And I knew something was wrong because he had ended up moving my legs, and he was like, I'm about to go do something. And I'm like, don't act like I can't put my legs on you. What? And then find out that she texted him, was like, oh, I thought you and her don't have nothing going on, so why are you acting like y'all together or whatever? So I knew something was wrong because he just kept picking with me, and he kept trying to make a drama or make something going on between us when we ain't have nothing going on, because we was like Bonnie and Clyde, and you couldn't tell us nothing. When you see him, you saw me. When you saw me, you saw him, and we was like that, and we rocked it like that. But then when she came in the picture, it just seemed like we just had the most terrible relationship ever, and we ain't got nothing going on. No, baby, we was rocking like that. And then it came to a point where she started spilling the tea about everything. Yeah, they been doing this. Oh, he been give me that neck like this. He did this in your bed, and we did this in your bed. I'm like, what? So in my head, I'm like, all right, should I punch this whole her mom? She's still a kid. I get it. But in my head, I'm like, all right, I just took this girl and my house, and she decided to, yeah, okay. Now, and then I'm like, all right, it's time for her to go. So even though I had custody of her, I start in my head, I'm starting like, no, I don't give a fuck no more. Like, this, you doing too much. So him, after I'm confronting him, talking to him and stuff like that, I instantly told him, like, we can't fuck with each other. Like, we can't. We not gonna do that. And he literally was like, why? And he trying to play this stunt, like he was making this feel like he was being a narcissist or something. He kept on saying like, she lying, she was coming off to me, she was come and talk to me, want to cuddle with me, trying to tell me stuff that you was doing to her and all this other stuff. And I'm looking like, she's a kid, she's young, she's only 16, about to be 17, and you persuade her. And he was like, no, she was coming out to me, trying to be in my face with her booty shorts and all this stuff. And it got to a point where the day after I talked to him and he denied and said that he never did nothing with that girl, it's the same day that he had ended up getting into a car accident and he had ended up in a coma. And that's why I said God works, and he works around me, baby. Because karma is always around the corner when you know you did something to me. So so he got into a bad accident and then he got into a coma. My instinct was, okay, this man almost lost his life, and in my head I'm like, I don't care, because he should never did me dirty. But then again, I have a heart, and then I was like, you know what, we gonna check up on him, make sure he okay. I'm gonna go through this with him for a little bit, then I'm just gonna bounce or whatever. So I ended up going to the, like, he would end up in the nursing home and stuff like that, and he did lose his memory, but certain parts of his memory. So like when I used to be up there with him, he thought I was his cousin. He didn't know who I was, but then he thought the nurses in there was me. He thought the nurses in there was me. He kept calling on my name, and when I go up there, they was like, is you too? Because he been looking for two, and you too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm too. And then he was like, finally, even when I was there and still telling him that I was two, he didn't know that I was two. And he ended up telling me that he did do something to my cousin, and that's when the end of that was. And that's why sometimes it's not good to be nice to everybody, cousin, family, friends, anything, because you never know what people got in store for you. But yeah, I don't really talk to her like that no more. I don't talk to him. I've been done with him after he admitted when he lost his brain and said that it happened. It was over with. So now it's like, I mean, it stuck with me for a while. Like, it did bring trauma, because I feel like I can't trust nobody. I can't trust nobody, and I can't trust nobody around my man. And like now, I can't trust nobody around my man now. Like, no. Don't laugh at him. What you laughing at him for? You think he cute? But yeah, guys, that's my story on how I found out that my cousin was sleeping with my boyfriend. And it's crazy, ain't it? So, I don't know, but that's my story, guys. I will see y'all in another video. Alright, bye.
We spend cash for entertainment. There's more.